All right, here it is. 2 weeks to the day. If it were a football game, it's the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter, folks. 2 weeks until we go and vote on figuring out who the next president is going to be. It's not going to be Joe Biden, or Joe Biden, as Kamala Harris might say. Is it going to be Trump? Is it going to be Kamala Harris? Right now, all things are pointing towards Trump. You look at the swing states, look what's going on in the swing states. I will tell you that when Trump was shot in the ear on July 13th, that was a good indication that he was going to be the next president. I'm a believer. I believe things happen for a reason. I believe he survived that assassination attempt by that much because he's supposed to be the next president. They brought in Joe Biden. They brought in Kamala Harris to take over for a failing Joe Biden after that. And Kamala Harris got a lot of money, got some wind in her sails. Democrats pumped up their chests and said, hey, we might have a shot at this after all. But I do believe the political stunt, and let's call it what it was, the political stunt of that McDonald's yesterday in Pennsylvania was Katie bar the door, slam dunk, win, gave the Trump 47th presidency right there. It was a brilliant move because why? What did it do? It humanized Trump, number one. The guy, it wasn't some fake little stunt. He was there for a reason. He was wearing his outfit. He is enjoying it. You could tell he loves McDonald's, number one. Number two, you could tell he was enjoying his time with the people, with the folks. When you look at Kamala Harris, she's very awkward. She's uncomfortable. And the other big thing that did was highlighted something that's going to be a big problem for her, has been a big problem for her. She lies. She has nowhere to go with a lot of things. She has nothing. So it's all these handlers who are telling her what to say, what to do. And you could tell because she never worked in McDonald's. McDonald's today put out a statement saying, we have no record anywhere of Kamala Harris ever working at McDonald's. So it really highlighted the fact that she lied. Number two, Trump was in his element. He does love McDonald's. I told the story before. I will tell it again. 2017, after he's sworn into office, one of the first thing, a couple of months into office, I was called to D.C. I was working in New York. I was at Fox. And as you know, I'm friendly with Trump for 30 years. He called me to the Oval Office. I go to the Oval Office. We sit down. We talk for a few minutes. He says, I'm going to go have lunch over there, and it's called the reading room. The Oval Office is here. There's a hallway, about a 30-foot hallway to a room. It's called the reading room. Historically, presidents have taking that private time to read their books or study up on things. He takes me into the reading room, and he's got a bowl of French fries this big, an empty bowl, a bowl of ketchup that big, and like 3 or 4 Diet Cokes. True story. And he proceeds to eat one French fry at a time, bites it, puts the part he touched. He's very germ phobic. Takes the part that he was touching, put it in the other bowl, one at a time, and he proceeded to work his way through those French fries and the Diet Cokes. And the guy loves McDonald's. And for that, he has become, look at that. That is just amazing. He's in his element. He loved it. He was enjoying himself. And especially when he was handing out the food to people who would come up in the drive-thru and talking to him. This was a brilliant political move. The left is saying it was a stunt and it was fake and a photo op. It didn't matter. He was real there. He was real there, more real than Kamala Harris has ever been in a group anywhere. All right, folks. So 2 weeks. Listen to their desperation. Listen to their pleading. And then you understand even just a part of what Americans are going through right now.
Approached yesterday by a non-speaking or non-English speaking member of the community now, one of our new residents, that apparently purchased my home. I was not aware. No one told me until yesterday morning. And this gentleman came up and put a 3-day notice on my door. I've been a resident there for 6 years. He did not speak English. But he came up and told me I have 3 days. 3 days to move out of my home. I'm getting pushed out of my home by someone that can't speak my language and doesn't know the law and doesn't know the rules of what an eviction is or what communication is, because he can't tell me. It's not his fault. But I want to know where the resources are for us, because I don't get rental assistance. My $15 an hour, I make too much. I took a pay cut because my employer had to outsource the company I work for overseas, I had to take a pay cut of a fourth of what I made. And now on top of that, I'm being asked to leave my home by someone that can't communicate this to me. We're getting pushed out of this community. I was born here.
I want to be compassionate here. Your time is up.
Betrayal is always a difficult thing, always. But being betrayed by what's perceived as your own family, your own home, your own government, well, that's a whole other level. I don't trust government. The more government, the worse off we are. Government mishandles everything, everything. Medicare, Social Security, our elections, the damn post office. If government gets their dirty little hands on it, it's usually a colossal failure. But why is it that our own government, why do they feel it's okay to abandon hardworking Americans, an American woman, a tax-paying woman, standing before her government and begging for an explanation, begging for help, but being thrown out of her home by someone who doesn't speak English, our language, well, disregards our laws? And just to add insult to injury, that woman is getting zero assistance, no help, not a penny from the same damn government, those clowns that are sending hundreds of billions of dollars of our tax dollars overseas to countries that don't particularly like us or likely wouldn't even lift a finger to help us if, God forbid, we were the ones in need. And that same government clown show that spent all of our emergency hurricane disaster relief money on illegals, free hotel rooms, debit cards, free EBT cards for food, greed, stupidity, and upside-down priorities. That's what our government is good at. Meanwhile, innovation, productivity, improving Americans' quality of life, well, government, in a word, sucks at those. So why is that okay? And why do these failures get massive under Democrat watch? It's enough to make you go insane with anger. I'm fuming when I see a video like that because I know all of us feel the same way she did right there. This isn't just a hiccup in our country's history. I believe it's a defining moment right now. When we talk about the inferno that illegal immigration has become, I really don't think we're driving home what a massive catastrophe this is and how it's getting exponentially worse by the day. I'm not trying to be a drama queen, king, whatever. I'm not trying to dramatize this. I'm not even exaggerating here. This is our reality. We've reached the fork in the road in America right now. Our future depends on the decisions and the policies and choices we make from this point going forward in the months directly ahead of us. It's make or break time. We have to reconfigure our values and our priorities real fast right now. It's not enough to make broad statements like this country was founded on immigration and we can only survive if we continue, or if we bring in huge number of immigrants. I think we can agree that while it's true we do need immigration, and please don't throw the Statue of Liberty in our faces, please give it back to the French for all I care. We do need immigration indeed, but certainly not this immigration. The Democrat idea of immigration is just a mass giveaway, a mass gravy train handout for votes. I'm going to say it again and louder for the people in the back. Rapists, murderers, violent criminals. These are not people seeking refuge and solace in the United States. They're seeking to take everything they can get from us. A handout, a grab, a money grab. Why is it so hard to understand the difference? I know all about investing. It's where I came from. This is the wrong kind of investment. Let me tell you a little something about investment. The most important and yet basic tenet of any investment is called the ROI, return on investment. Allowing millions of unvetted illegal migrants into our country is the worst ROI you could possibly imagine. They come here many times with criminal records and arrive with their hands out, taking all the free stuff we have to offer them. And here's where it goes wrong. While legal immigrants will pay back into the system with taxes and such, ROI, return on investment, the illegals, the criminal illegals, will never pay into a system, not a penny. And worse, they'll never assimilate. They won't learn the language. They'll fight, steal, and commit crimes and never become real Americans. Where there's a real ROI, return on investment, with legal immigrants, migrants, the illegal migrants' ROI is zero. In actuality, it's worse than zero. they cost us more and more, and then even more when they commit crimes. We all know what needs to happen. It's uncomfortable, it's not pretty, hard to say, but we know what President Trump wants to do. Build the damn wall and put military there to protect it, to maintain its effectiveness at keeping invaders out. Why, I ask, is there even a question about that? Why has the left normalized caravans of young men, mostly men, breaking into our home country and then into our homes, quite literally? Trump wants to deport criminals and those known to be trouble to this country and to Americans. Why is that wrong? Again, it doesn't matter where they come from or the color of their skin. If they're a danger to this country, to our women, to our children, then why are they even allowed to be here? Now, why is asking that question somehow racist? I don't know. Trump also says that he will ban all welfare and federal benefits for illegals. Well, now we're talking. That's a great idea. There are Americans still missing in North Carolina. Americans. Let's take care of our own first, shall we? This is all common sense, which Democrats obviously hate because it gets in the way of their nefarious plans. Imagine it's you or someone you care about or love living in an apartment complex that's been terrorized by a group of Venezuelan terrorists, illegals. And a member of the media simply downplays it as just a handful of incidents.
The incidents were limited to a handful of apartment complexes, and the mayor said our dedicated police officers have acted on those concerns. A handful of problems.
Only, Martha, do you hear yourself? Only a handful of apartment complexes?
What a moment. What a moment where Martha Raddatz, part of the mainstream media, it's why people don't trust the media anymore, folks. Martha Raddatz says, yeah, it's just a handful of terrorists terrorizing Americans in their apartment complexes in Colorado. Just a handful. By the way, it's in Illinois, in Chicago, and also in New York, by the way, the Tren del Aragua terrorist Venezuelan gangs. Just a handful. Why is one okay, let alone a handful, Martha? Well, we know how she sounds. We know how she sounds, Senator J.D. Vance. But Martha doesn't care how she sounds because her only imperative is to follow orders, to downplay the crisis and provide the left with 4 more years to make it even worse. As we speak, there's a massive caravan of illegal migrants making their way towards our southern border right now. Some say 2,000, other reports say as much as 4,000, and they're looking to invade before number 45 becomes number 47, because that makes that impossibility an impossibility. The ability for them to crash the border if it's 47, if it's Trump, an impossibility. They're literally racing to our border to beat the election clock. They know if it's Trump, they're screwed. Trump won't allow them to enter. Certainly not like the rolled out red carpet Kamala, the border czar, is doing. But right now, they're very confident they can make it into our country thanks to the so-called big hearts of Joe and Kamala.
Yeah. I thought their hearts were too big when Joe came into office, that they didn't know how many people would cross the border, and it got away from them. But they figured it out. They learned. And what did they do? He put together an executive order, and now the number of border crossings is down to where they were under Trump, maybe a little lower.
No, that's bullshit, Mark Cuban. It's absolute bullshit. Number one, their hearts were too big. They didn't know how many were going to come in. If you open the freaking border, of course they're going to come in. It's Mark Cuban to say that now they got the number that was around where Trump, that's bullshit. When Trump left office, the April of 2020, when Trump was leaving office, there was 17,000 border crossings. Now there's 300,000. They got up as high as 300,000. What, they're down to 150,000? But still nowhere near the Trump numbers. Okay, fine, Mark. I'll play your little game here. The U.S. has encountered 1.6 million illegals at the border within the first year of the Biden-Harris administration, 1.6 million. And within that time, Joe tasked Kamala to be the border czar. You know, when she started giving ridiculous speeches about finding root causes of illegal immigration.
It is in our country's mutual interest to provide immediate relief to the Northern Triangle and to address the root causes of migration.
Root causes. Root cause number 1, Joe Biden. Root cause number 2, Kamala Harris. Not rocket science here. But after that 1.6 million crossed that first year mark, I think they actually did know how many would cross because they knew it was 1.6 million. And then again, some more. 2.3 million the following year, 2.4 million the year after that. Took them far too long to learn the lesson. The damage was already done. They're already here. They let him go. And another thing to Mark Cuban, who's officially crossed over to the swamp, I don't want my president to have, what is it that you said, a heart too big for criminals and thugs looking to terrorize Americans. I don't want my president, our president, to have a heart too big for those who invade our country and suck our resources dry, leaving little to nothing for actual Americans. I mean, let's ask Laken Riley's family if Kamala's huge heart is worth losing their lovely daughter, sister, friend. Our country's reached a fork in the road, folks. Do we start thriving again, or do we allow for the total destruction of our values and our core at the hands of illegals who don't give a rat's ass about our country, our flag, our values, our children, our future? By the way, Mark Cuban, you just came out and said that you would be willing to work in a Trump administration if asked, saying, Mark, you're America first. Let's just say, Mark, you won't be asked. You don't have to worry about it. You sold your soul to the devil, to the Democrats, and Trump is too smart to let you anywhere near his administration. All right, what we like to do now is take you through the stories, the things that happened overnight to just get you up to speed on everything. Did you see that Kamala Harris wanted to do a town hall, and who did she have introduce her? None other than, I don't know what she is, Liz Cheney. She lost her reelection. When she went negative Trump, she lost her reelection by like 30 points, an historic number in Montana. Liz Cheney is introducing Kamala Harris for some sort of town hall watch.
If I can just speak to what people are feeling. We cannot despair. We cannot despair. You know, the nature of a democracy is such that I think there's a duality. On the one hand, there's an incredible strength when our democracy is intact. An incredible strength in what it does to protect the freedoms and rights of its people. Oh, there's great strength in that. And it is very fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. And so that's the moment we're in. And I say do not despair, because in a democracy, as long as we can keep it in our democracy, the people, every individual has the power to make a decision about what this will be. And so let's not feel powerless.
So what the hell was that? Did you understand? I didn't. By the way, Kamala Harris is taking today off, completely off the campaign trail. 2 weeks left to go. She's preparing for an interview, I think. Either that or she was maybe drunk or wasted there and she needs to take a few minutes to clear her head from the hangover. I don't know about you, but I felt powerless having to watch and absolutely listen to absolute word salad about absolutely nothing. This is who the Democrats put forward. This is who they deem to be the head of their party. And with Liz Cheney sitting there right next to her, probably thinking to herself, geez, what did I get myself into here? Get me off this sinking ship. Did you see her? That was Liz Cheney. Hillary was a better candidate. There's a little bit of panic in the air. Did you see this? What if Joe Biden was the better candidate all along? Oh my gosh, the Hill. Did you see that? They said, what if Joe Biden now? That is sheer desperation. I mean, think about that. All right, also in the next one, let's take a listen to Kamala at that town. By the way, town halls, this is how they work. They're town halls where the folks get to ask questions. You know, they're regular people from the community. Sometimes they're not your side of the aisle. Sometimes they are. But they're generally questions that the community wants answered. But listen to the rules on this one.
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
So no questions at a town hall, none whatsoever. So it's not actually a town hall after all, is it? Right? I mean, that's exactly what this Democrat, they're about. They're not about the folks. They're not about answering people's questions. They're all about setting it up so that they don't expose Kamala Harris for what she really is, and what she really is an incompetent candidate who's sliding with 2 weeks left to go. Sliding. Listen.
We're going to go to Colleen at the AP.
Hi, Madam Vice President. Do you think that Republican voters, and specific women voters, will be more likely to vote for you because of the fall of Roe?
So if you didn't catch that, that was Kamala Harris looking over here, and one of her handlers says, hold on, we have a question for you over here. And it was the layup question. It was the question that would just roll. Can you roll that? Can you re-rack that, MD? Re-rack that and take a listen and listen how if the handler directs Kamala somewhere else to answer a question that was pre-picked in advance for her. Listen.
We're going to go to Colleen at the AP.
Hi, Madam Vice President. Do you think that Republican voters, and specific women voters, will be more likely to vote for you because of the fall of Roe?
The layup question. No, don't answer a question over here. Go to that one over there. We picked her. That's the one. Take a look at this right here. Kamala Harris with Hispanic men. Are you listening to this? Listen.
And what I think is a mistake is to let white folks escape the accountability that they must face for not showing up to save democracy themselves. Like, they want to get mad at presidential candidates, right, when they don't wear a flag lapel pin or they don't see you pledging allegiance to the flag. That's what they want to get upset about. Now, the face of patriotism to them looks like trying to tear down the Capitol in a terrorist attack on January 6, 2021.
They've got nothing left. They've got nothing left. They just keep going back to January 6th. They can't handle it. They realize that Kamala Harris is a flawed candidate now, and there's 2 weeks left. That was CNN commentator Angela Ryle. Finally, how about this full screen right here? Kamala Harris, the Hispanic man. This is important. This is important right here. Donald Trump has disrespected and insulted Latino men and communities. As president, I will invest in them. Another giveaway. Remember, Kamala said, I have this plan for African Americans. Now she wants to give away to Latino men and their families. Kamala Harris is bleeding male voters, bleeding them. Right now, Trump is down in Miami. He's talking to a group of Hispanic business leaders, and he's crushing it with Hispanics. If Trump gets the number that the Hispanic community thinks he's getting, somewhere around 50%, that's a layup. He wins the election. So, anytime a Republican get over 35, 40% Latino vote, you have a pretty darn good chance of winning the presidency. Some say Trump could get a 50% number. And think about that. 50% of Hispanics, even if it's 40% of Hispanics voting for Trump, when his major issue, the number one issue for Trump has been close the border, send the illegals back. Most of these illegals are Hispanics. The vast majority of illegals coming across the border are Hispanic. Yeah, sure, there's some people coming from China and other countries, but the vast majority are Hispanic. And for Hispanics to say, we don't want an open border. We worked hard to earn our citizenship, to earn our vote. We don't want those people to come across the border illegally and have the same rights that we do too. I will tell you, the Hispanic vote will put Trump into office. And right now, Trump is in Doral, Miami, that is his country club in Doral, with a massive amount of Hispanics right now supporting Donald Trump. All right, folks. That's it. Did we get you enough? Did we get you up to speed enough? Let's hope so. All right, I think that's it. I think that's all we have for the show today. Again, subscribe to the show, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, on Spotify, Apple, if you're listening. Make sure you subscribe. It's free. Also, there's the number, 888-601-0032. That's the call-in number. It's toll-free. We don't use that for anything else. I just listen to them, and I try and drive the show towards what you want to hear. We have a bunch of emails and voicemails we'll get to, maybe a couple tomorrow. But in the meantime, we're inside of 2 weeks. Make sure you vote. Make sure you register. And make sure you subscribe. It's free, always free. Helps us out, folks. Have a great night. Bowling out, and we will bring it back to you tomorrow.